Let's bring this back to France. What kind of foothold do they have there?
Their presence in France might be less overt than in some other countries, but that doesn't make it any less significant. They've been quietly building their network there for decades, and it's finally starting to bear fruit. You know how we were talking about the Atlas network playing the long game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, nowhere is that more apparent than in France. They've been laying the groundwork there since the 1980s, quietly building up this network of think tanks and organizations that are now starting to wield some serious influence.
Okay, so who are the major players in this French connection? Can you give me some names?
One of the biggest is IFRAP.
AFRAP, okay.
Yeah, the Institut Français pour la Recherche sur les Administrations et les Politiques Publiques, to give you the full title.
Catchy. Right.
They've been an Atlas partner since the very beginning, and their fingerprints are all over recent economic debates in France.
So what's their specialty? What kind of policies are they pushing for?
Their bread and butter. Shrinking the public sector. Think lower taxes, less government spending, privatization, that whole song and dance.
Sounds familiar. The same playbook they use everywhere else, it seems. But are they actually changing minds in France, or are they just, preaching to the choir?
Oh, they're definitely gaining traction. You can see their influence in the policies of recent French governments, actually. Like, they've been really effective at shifting the conversation around taxation, for example.
How so?
Well, they constantly hammer away at this idea of social fraud, people taking advantage of welfare programs.
Right.
It's a way to turn public sentiment against these social safety nets, even though the actual cost of tax evasion by corporations or wealthy individuals is far, far greater.
Classic divide and conquer, right. Make people suspicious of each other instead of questioning the system itself. It's clever, but so insidious.
Exactly. And it's not just IFRAP. There's another group, Contribuables Associés, that's particularly adept at shaping public perception.
That's their angle.
They're masters of astroturfing. They present themselves as this grassroots movement of ordinary taxpayers who are just fed up with government waste.
Don't they stage those, elaborate protests, too, with the fake tax forms and everything?
Oh, absolutely. They even had people dressed as Marie Antoinette at one of them.
No way, really. Marie Antoinette. That's almost comical.
Right. But it works. It taps into this deep-seated French resentment of elitism and government overreach. Never mind that the organization itself is bankrolled by some of the wealthiest people in France.
The irony is almost too perfect.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about shaping public opinion either. They're also actively cultivating the next generation of leaders through organizations like Alexandre Paysy's Institut de Formation Politique.
Okay, what is that? Some kind of finishing school for future politicians?
Pretty much. They train young people in the art of political persuasion. How to craft their message, build coalitions, navigate the halls of power, but all through this very specific ideological lens, of course.
So they're not just winning battles, they're shaping the battlefield itself. It's like they're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
That's a great analogy. And, here's the thing. The Atlas Network is just one example of this phenomenon. There are countless other groups out there, funded by wealthy donors and corporations, working tirelessly to shape public policy and really mold our understanding of the world.
It's a bit overwhelming, to be honest. If these networks are so powerful, so deeply embedded in everything, is there any way to counter their influence?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Awareness is a good first step. The more we understand their tactics, the better equipped we are to see through the smoke and mirrors. But it takes work. We have to be critical thinkers, to question the information we're being fed, and to actively seek out diverse perspectives.
It's like we need to develop a kind of mental immune system, right? To protect ourselves from these insidious thought viruses.
Exactly. Because the battle for our minds, that's already happening.
Well, this deep dive has certainly been an eye-opener for me, I have to say. I'll never look at a think tank or a grassroots movement the same way again.
That makes two of us.